Como é possível que a palavra dick em inglês pode significar um apelido masculino, um insulto e um órgão do corpo masculino ao mesmo tempo? Como distinguir entre I can e I can't, o negativo que soa quase igual em inglês? E o que significa as gírias lit e meh? São 3 das perguntas que eu vou responder hoje. Não, eu não vou responder. A Rachel, professora do Cambly, vai responder daqui a pouco no Amigo Gringo Responde. É isso, daqui a pouco vamos falar com Rachel Allen. Vocês já conhecem ela. Ela fez um vídeo ótimo comigo respondendo outras dúvidas de inglês e vamos ver ela pelo aplicativo, pela plataforma Cambly. Eu vou usar exatamente como os alunos usam, vou conectar com uma professora sempre falante nativa, nesse caso americana, e ela vai responder as minhas dúvidas de inglês, exatamente como ela poderia responder as suas dúvidas. E se você quer uma aula de 10 minutos de graça com Rachel ou com qualquer outro professor do Cambly, é só usar o link na descrição ou entre no aplicativo e usar esse código aqui. Os professores do Cambly são disponíveis 24 horas por dia, 7 dias por semana, 365 dias por ano. Mas o momento em que eu preciso falar com uma professora do Cambly é agora! Vamos ligar para a Rachel.
Bom dia!
Wow, Rachel, you've been studying Portuguese since last we talked, right?
Yes, I have. I have so many Brazilian students on Cambly. They've been teaching me.
Oh my God, really? So, wait, have you gotten some new students since we last spoke? Did anyone come to you?
Absolutely. Anyone else who wants to learn English with me?
We can find you. What's your name on Cambly again?
Rachel Allen.
Okay. And we got lots of questions as usual. Se vocês querem mandar perguntas, é só mandar nos comentários e a gente pega todas as perguntas que chegam e escolhe as melhores, especialmente são sobre a língua inglesa. E a primeira pergunta é da Tamara Mars. Qual o significado das expressões lit e meh?
Lit usually means like something is really awesome or really cool or sometimes maybe really busy. So a common way I could say it, I'd be like, you guys should come to this party, it's so lit.
Yeah.
That could mean like there's a lot of people there, it's really exciting, it's really fun.
Right.
Or if you're just trying to say something was cool. People use lit for a lot of different reasons and it's different in different parts of the US. So I don't know, maybe some people would say that movie was so lit. Like that movie was so cool.
And noticing you're saying it, when I said it, I wanted to enunciate completely and I said lit. But really, the way you would say it is lit. The unaspirated T at the end. Hey, that is lit.
Which we will talk about later.
Oh, yes, we will. Wow, what a preview.
Yes,
I love it. Okay, so how about meh?
Meh is kind of like when you're saying something isn't good or bad, it's just meh.
Yeah.
It's like you think about like the sky on a cloudy, gray, boring day. It's just meh.
Right.
Like, how was your day today? It wasn't good, it wasn't bad, same as usual. It was meh.
How was that movie? Meh.
Meh.
It was like, yeah,
Like,
it wasn't the worst, but it definitely, like, it's not a recommendation. It's definitely kind of it's a little bit negative. It definitely means, like, it's okay, but it means it's okay and like, it's all right. It was all right.
Yeah.
Right? Ok, uma pergunta um pouco longa, mas vale a pena, pessoal. Paulo Victor de Aguiar perguntou: Ei, Seth, tenho uma curiosidade sobre a palavra dick. Como ela pode ser utilizada como insulto, you're such a dick, como um sinônimo de pênis e ainda assim pode ser utilizada como nome próprio, Dick Grayson. Parece estranho colocar o nome em uma pessoa que tenha esses outros significados na língua. Então, gostaria de saber como os americanos enxergam essa questão. Abraço. Ok, take it away, Rachel. We got a lot to say about this one.
what a fun question. So sometimes when people are named Richard, we shorten their name to Dick. It's a nickname. Honestly, not very many young people are called Dick at this point because of the more vulgar meaning of the term.
Right.
I can't imagine growing up being in middle school with the name Dick. That sounds terrible. So I think a lot of parents have figured that out. Yeah.
Just note, though, if your name is Richard, you have other choices. You could be Rich, Richie, Rick. Rick is kind of a nice name.
Ricky?
Ricky is a cool name. To answer Paulo's question, it is true that we see that as kind of funny, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to laugh in somebody's face if they tell me their name is Dick, but I'm going to be laughing inside a little bit. But that might be just because I'm a little bit immature. I don't know.
But if you knew someone who was like a good friend, or I have a friend whose father is named Dick, and he still goes by Dick, after a certain amount of time, you forget that that's his name.
You get used to it. There are funny nicknames for every name in the world. And we also use dick as sort of a phrasal verb. So we say it like, stop dicking around. It's like, stop messing around. Stop, or like maybe pay attention. Stop dicking around. Or dick off could mean the same thing. Like you could say like, my friends and I just dicked off this weekend. It means like we didn't do anything this weekend.
I think it would be very common to say stop dicking around and like, get to the point or get to work or whatever. And I might add, as long as we're speaking about body parts and bodily functions, that a practical synonym of that would be stop farting around.
Yeah.
So again, the body just gives us so many wonderful
body and
slang.
Language.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Let's move on. Da Glaucia Rosaling perguntou, Seth, please, você poderia explicar a pronúncia da letra T em inglês, como em mountain, Atlanta? Esse T me confunde. Obrigada. Depois, também, com o T, Carlos Lima perguntou, a minha dúvida é como perceber quando o nativo da língua inglesa está falando can ou can't. E claro, a gente não fala can ou can't. A gente fala can. Muito parecido. Rachel, explain this weird letter T, which seems to, does it disappear almost in these words?
The letter T is pronounced differently based on where it comes in the word or what letter it comes after or before, so it can be a little bit confusing to understand. In the examples that you gave, mountain and Atlanta, we don't pronounce the T at all. So when it comes after an N, we almost just drop the T completely.
Wait, there's a slight sound, right? Because if you ask me to say Atlanta without the T, I say Alana.
Atlanta.
And I do kind of say it kind of like there's a tiny little click in there, like Atlanta, like.
But it's not the T sound we normally think about, where we put our tongue on the roof of our mouth and press out.
Right.
Right. It's not like that. It's Atlanta. It basically just separates the sound between the N and the A. And that is basically how we use it when it comes after an N. It's a complicated pronunciation issue. Also, we're just talking about American English. This is totally different in British English. So for example, in American English, I say water bottle, right? So I say the word water, W-A-T-E-R, sounds like W-A-D-E-R almost. Water bottle. Whereas in British English, they would say water.
Everybody.
And they would pronounce.
Sorry, everybody loves how the British say water. Everybody loves that.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on. I interrupted you. Sorry.
That's okay. No, yeah, and so that's why some people sometimes can find the British accent a little bit easier to understand, is because they pronounce things like that. Although they drop their R's and do other things. Right. The times that we do pronounce it very fully is when it comes to the beginning of a sentence. So if I say top, tower, take.
Totally.
Right? When it comes. Totally.
Actually, that's a good one because it has two T's in it, so you can hear the difference. It's not totally, it's totally.
Yeah. Totally.
It's like a little D-ish sound in there.
Exactly. So the T turns into, it's really not a D sound, it's more just it's stopping, it's breaking up the two letters that it's in between, right? That's how it's pronounced often at the end of the word as well. So, for example, if I say sit, I'm not going to say sit down. I'm going to say sit. And it's pronounced, but it's really just there to stop the I sound rather than as a full pronunciation on its own.
Right.
It's very complicated to explain, and I'm sorry, but...
English is hard. You got
it is.
I mean, it's hard. Even I'm thinking, like, again, what if there was no T in sit? It would be sit. Yeah, you're right. So it just stops the I, hard stop, right in the middle, as opposed to letting it sort of
keep going,
ease along and fade. Sit.
Hat.
Yeah.
Can and can't are very, very difficult to understand.
Did you say can and can't? Can and can't?
I said can and can't. So, yeah.
So funny.
The N-T sound, like we were just talking about, the T when it comes at the end of the word is just a stopper. But we just talked about also how when it comes after an N, it just sort of separates what it's coming in between. So this makes it really complicated when we're saying can't, because it's basically silent, the T. So my recommendation is that when you're trying to figure out if somebody's saying can or can't, you have to rely on the context clues. Yes, I can. No, I can't.
Right. If you're looking for volunteers, who can go to the store? If I say I can, I'm happily saying it, and I'm also stressing the I. I can. I can't. I think we stress it differently. I can. I can't.
Yeah, for sure. Also, there are times where it would sound really weird to just say, to respond to can you do something with I can. So like, if I were to say, can you hang out this weekend? I wouldn't say I can hang out this weekend.
Oh yeah.
Like that would sound very weird to a native English speaker. You'd be like, yeah, I can. Or I can't hang out.
Yes.
Or I can't hang out this weekend.
Exactly. So you're more likely to use the negative. I can't hang out this weekend. I can.
Yeah.
Oh.
Exactly.
Bruno Vargas, 1981, colocou o que imaginou lá no de nascimento. Por que se responde muitas perguntas em inglês com simples I do? Why do we say I do? Let me think of an example to give you. Who likes bologna sandwiches? I do. I don't. Why? Why is that a legitimate answer?
When we say I do or I don't, it's basically a shortened version of the whole sentence that we're trying to say. So we're conveying an idea with less words. So do or do, don't, does, doesn't, these are auxiliary verbs. So what you would have to say if you were answering that completely is like, I do like bologna sandwiches, right? So when we just take out the second part because we've already heard that in the question. You said, do you like bologna sandwiches? I don't need to say, I do like bologna sandwiches. I can just say, I do.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So just to explain in a Portuguese context, when a Brazilian answers the question, they'll often repeat the verb. Quem gosta de sanduíches de bologna? Eu gosto. I like, they would say. In English, you don't use the verb, you use the auxiliary verb. You say, I do, instead of I like. Does it make much sense?
Exactly.
I mean, in reality, you could say, I like bologna sandwiches. You don't have to say, I do like bologna sandwiches. So, in a way, you're echoing the question, right? Do you
exactly.
like? I do. Você gosta? Eu gosto. I think that's the best way for Brazilians to think about it. It really just reflects the same way Brazilians sort of repeat the question to answer it. Você estudou filosofia? Estudei. Did you study philosophy? I did.
I did. Yeah. Did obviously being the past
right.
of do.
Okay, awesome. Well, I think we've done it again. Thank you so much
Woo!
For joining us. Just to remind everyone, you are an American who lives in Mexico.
Exactly.
And teaches on Cambly and has a lot of Brazilian students. Now, would you say your Brazilian students are the smartest, most charming of all your students?
Absolutely. Brazilian students are my favorite, and I want more of you. So everyone come my way, and we'll talk. We'll learn English. It'll be great.
All right. Thank you, Rachel. Bye.
Yeah, good to talk to you. Bye.
Uau, gostei da aula. Se você não gostou da aula, you're such a dick. Não, tô brincando, pessoal. Mas se você gostou da aula, quer provar Cambly 10 minutos de graça ou ver os planos que eles têm, link na descrição. E espero ver todo mundo na semana que vem no Amigo Gringo Responde. Não, na verdade, quero ver vocês na terça que vem para o próximo vídeo do Amigo Gringo.